Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the studio. Happy Monday, happy week 4 of February. I have so many fun things to share with you today. We're getting to the end of all the printmaking projects, and so, man, we gotta show you what we got going on before they leave the building and we don't get to see them anymore. So watch socials definitely this week for all sorts of great pictures of finished art. Let's talk about the schedule for the week because we got some funny things happening. First things first, on Tuesday, Liberty does not have class. Okay, Liberty only, no preschool classes. Flatwood still has class. You guys took last week off because local schools were out, but LPS had school, so we still had preschool class. But anyway, so that's why that's funny like that. So Liberty's got an off day if you're in the preschool art and play class or if you're in the preschool fundamentals class. Okay, Wednesday in Platte Woods, no creative explorations. Okay, Friday's creative explorations in Liberty still has class because we took Friday was it the 16th or no, it was the 13th because it was right before President's Day, right? So we took that Friday off. So we still have our third class happening on Friday, but Wednesday's creative explorations does not have class, and there's no preschool classes on Thursday. It's our off day. So still have preschool classes on Friday though because of that random off day in the middle of February, right? So crazy stuff happening in the schedule. As a reminder, we don't just make this stuff up on the fly. The schedule was decided sometime last summer after we took a look at what the schools were doing and we made a plan for our year. So that is available in your Sawyer account. And if you don't know how to get to your Sawyer account or see your calendar for classes or export your calendar to your Google Calendar or your iCalendar, all of that information is on the For Current Students webpage on our website. So go to the footer of the webpage, very down bottom of any Orange Easel webpage. It says For Current Students. Makeup schedules and more. Click on that link and it'll tell you how to do that, okay? And then here's our other little note is Sunday at 9 a.m. This coming Sunday, like 6 days from now, summer registration will open for Studio Club members. Right now, there's nothing. Like you can go up and look at stuff, but there's no registration links. Come on Sunday, when you look at it, it'll say Studio Club members register now, and you'll click the little button and it will open up a registration page. And then it will say members only on every single summer class, members only. So if you have a Studio Club membership for 2026 spring semester on your Sawyer account, which for those of you who signed up for the entire semester, paid for the entire semester prior to January 1st, you are Studio Club members, you can go ahead and sign up. Your account has the permissions to sign up. If you don't, when you click on it and you go to register, it'll say you do not have the required membership for this. It's okay. You have until you just have to wait a little bit longer. So the 15th is when it opens for everybody. Studio Club members get early access. If you're like, I have no idea if I'm a Studio Club member, you can still go to your Sawyer account. That link that says For Current Students, click that, log into your Sawyer account, look under memberships, see if you got it. If not, you can send me a message and I'll let you know. All right, let's talk through what's going on in classes. So preschool fundamentals, no Tuesday or Thursday classes in Liberty this week. Just Liberty. Flatwoods doesn't have any days off. You guys still have class. You took last week off, but Tuesday and Thursday classes are all done. We wrapped our month of February last week. We still have Friday class in Liberty, though. And for those of you that have class this week, we are the third week of February, which means we are reading I Ain't Gonna Paint No More, which is an amazing book by Karen Beaumont. If you haven't read it, you should. It rhymes. I love a good book that has rhythm and rhyming because the kids can help me read it, even though they can't read the words, right? I just can't stand not to paint my hand, right? Like an Easter egg, I'm gonna paint my leg. And so this about a little boy that paints himself. And if you didn't see the pictures on social media from Liberty's classes last week, here you go. There they are. So we invited the kids to paint themselves. We invited the kids to paint us. It is one of our favorite and most joyful classes of the year. Lots of giggling. And then afterwards, we just do a big sponge bath and get back on with our day. All right, for our K-3 multimedia classes, we are doing collagraphs. So this printing process involves building up a substrate, a printing block of some kind, and we are using manila folders. Now, a lot of the Plattwoods classes, they got to print last week. A lot of our Liberty classes, we did not get to that step. We were still building collagraphs, and we will print this week. But the goal is that they get one good print. Because sometimes There are so many things in printmaking, so many variables that makes the print turn out one way or the other, right? Just because it's a stamp doesn't mean that you're automatically getting the exact same thing every single time. How much ink did you put out? How dry was the ink? How thick was the ink? How much, like, time did you wait? How much pressure did you press down when you actually put the baren on it? So lots of things that can happen to make a print good, bad, or indifferent. The kids will get to do their printing on their collagraph and come up with one good print that they want to keep, and we'll put it on a mat frame for them to go. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but I'm going to try to show you some of our collagraphs in Liberty. These have not been printed. So the one here in this photo has been printed, so you can kind of see some of the contrast between the different levels, but this one hasn't been printed. So I'm going to put it up close to the camera, and if you can see it, great. And if not, oh yeah, there we go. If I kind of turn it to the light, you can see all of the different levels in our very monochromatic. I can feel it. We talked a lot about to the kids, like you should be able to feel it, like a raised part of a stamp. Here's another one. And you can see compositionally, they're all very different. They could do anything they wanted when they were setting up their composition and what their subject was. Some people did pure abstract, just shapes and lines and kind of crazy patterns. Some of them actually built a picture. So we'll get those printed, get those in matted, write up our artist statements, and send everybody home. If they are done printing and they just need to do finishing, we'll have time to do that. And if they've got everything done, we'll have printmaking stations set up so that they can explore all sorts of different printing. In our 4th and our 5th and our multimedia class, we are carving. So instead of building up our printing block, it's still a type of relief printing. We are carving away. We're doing it through a reductive method. And so I brought some things to show you here. Let's see. I'm going to show you. So our blocks are really, really small. And we are carving letters. So they designed their letters. We learned about like illuminated letters and block letters. And then they spent some time carving it. Now I am on camera, which the camera reverses. So we have a mirror image just in the camera. If you look at this, not on camera, it's backwards. So they had to carve it as a mirror image because when you go to stamp something, it has to be backwards, right? I got a notification here. Oh, yeah, that's not important. So we've got them all carved. Remember, in week 1, they printed backgrounds with mono prints, and a lot of them have already done some of their block prints, 2 types of printing this month, on their mono printed backgrounds. You can see all the prints for this one. These will then get collaged onto a set of note cards. So they're making a set of monogram note cards is their project. Lots of, man, this class had a ton of steps. Just between the backgrounds and the carving and the printing, so much stuff to do. I got one more that I wanted to show you. Here it is. Here's one of the stamps. Isn't that fun? So we made it into a little picture, and then we've got all of our printed. Look at the difference between the two, right? We're not robots. This is original art, so it's all going to be a little bit different. I love the background on this one because it kind of gives sunset vibes. Yeah. All right. So these guys for finishing, and everybody's in a little bit different stuff. This is one of the classes, and you can see they've got their backgrounds done, they've got their carving done, and they've got their block printing of their letter done. And now they just need to put them onto the note card. Some of our kids might be in a little bit different stages. Maybe they carved a little bit slower, faster. Maybe they have a bigger class, and so they were waiting to get that next printing step. Either way, everybody will finish this week. For our 6th, 7th, and our 8th, 12th classes, we are also carving blocks. They're a little bit bigger, and they're using multiple colors. So in our 4th and 5th, the background are multiple colors. They were mono prints on a jelly plate. And then the carved block was just black. So that's how we got the different colors. In the 8th, the older kids, 6th, 7th, and 8th, 12th, they are carving the exact same block and printing it in multiple colors. So each layer that they print is a different color. So this is a printing block that you see theirs is bigger, and we've got some carving happening. As we reduce away the layers, right, we get different colors. So in this one, we can see we've got white, which is the color of the paper. We have yellow, we have red, and we have, I believe this artist used blue. It kind of looks like black when it goes on top of the red and on the camera here, but I can kind of tell on the edges that it's blue. And we had to line up our print every time we made it otherwise, I love looking at them in series because that's what makes printmaking so awesome. So there you can kind of see the dark colors. So this guy, these guys will pick one of their favorites. So whatever print they feel like was the cleanest, the best, their favorite one, and they will put it in a mat and get it finished this week. Here's another great one. I want to make sure. I think it goes sideways. Kind of see the difference in like how you roll out ink, or maybe the dry time between rolling it out and printing it. You just kind of get a different look. Are those fun? All right, and this is this artist's block. So lots of fun stuff happening on these prints. We got some great pictures here as well. This is looks like they're working on their second layer. I think most of our artists, I asked in the staff meeting, most of our artists are through their final layer of printing, or they're ready to do it as soon as they walk in the door this week. So no worries about everybody finishing. I asked the staff, I was like, how are we doing on timing? And they said everybody's good. So this is really exciting. This is the second year we've done this method, which is a more advanced printing skill. And it's fun to see how much better the results are, how much cleaner they are, how much like more well thought out the compositions are at this time, because we're not just learning the method, we're actually we were able to take it a little bit deeper because it's the second year. And that's not just the kids. Some of our kids, this is their second year doing this. But it's also the teachers. This is our second year doing this. So, you know, you get better. Everybody gets better. That's how we get better, is with practice. All right, Creative Explorations. Again, no class on Wednesday in Flatwoods this week. If you come to Creative Explorations usually on Wednesday in Flatwoods, don't come this week. We won't be here. Doors will be locked. Liberty has their last February stations coming up this week. So remember, we took that Friday off around President's Day weekend. So we have to get our third class in. All right. And then next week, like not this coming week, but the week after, of course, we'll all start the March stations. There'll be a lot of mixed media artwork. And then also in Creative Explorations next week, an additional station that will be there will be our art show prep. So because I know it seems like really far off because our art show is the first week of May. We usually do it the last week of April because I know May gets really crazy, but last week of April was not available at our venue. So we went with the first week of May for our art show. So it seems like, wow, we were already talking art show and it's only February. But once we get into March, Creative Explorations will have a station set up every week where they can work with an instructor, work on their own independent study, and create whatever they want for their art show. It's just a time and a space thing. So they don't have to use it. They can create something at home. They can pick something they've already made. They don't have to do the art show at all. But that will be open to them as an option. All right, Drawing 101. I did not bring Drawing 101 stuff. And I should actually look at my notes, doing everything from memory today. So our Drawing 101 class has been exploring portraiture and figure art. So all about the human body and how we put that into art. This last week, we worked with more illustrative styles, and we actually got out the collage materials. So we drew and then we collaged, and we made these fun little heart creatures. I know in Liberty, a lot of our teachers used some fun stuff out of the craft closet, which our drawing kids don't normally get to use. So that was good. I know Miss Lily's class got out the brads, so their critters actually had moving parts, which were super fun. And it's just a different way of thinking of a character or a body, right? What are the different parts and how do I assemble them? So that was really, really fun to see. And then this week we're going to be continuing our portraiture lesson. We're going to look at the face and the symmetry that we see inside of a face. So we've got pre-printed pictures of people, but only half their face. And so the kids will draw the other half. In our 102 level classes, this is one from each, right? So this is our illustrative and this is our realistic. Our illustrative classes also doing characters and portrait and figure, so people. And they worked with emotions, which is a deeper skill than just like, hey, let's get the facial features in there and make sure the eyes are in the right place and the nose is in the right place and all that stuff. But actually, how do we convey an emotion? So they did some whiteboard exercises. where we were given an emotion and then tried to depict it using the lines that we draw. So that was really fun. This week is a wild card week for them and for 102 Realistic. That means that it's not just a free for all and it's not a party. It's not like let's just free draw in our journal. It's intentional. Find a picture, a study, a lesson that you've done previously that is unfinished and finish it. Find a lesson that you've done previously that you struggled with and let's get more help. Find a lesson that you've done previously that you want to tackle again, right? So the teachers will ask, like, what are you working on for your wild card? And then we're looking for something really intentional. For our 102 Realistic classes last week, again, it's portrait and figure. We did a warm up where we drew from observation this box of chocolates. That was fun. And then after that, we drew from our imagination, which is really, really tricky because we're trying to draw realistic. So we are not trying to draw line art. We're trying to draw with values and planes of the face and shading. And so we read story prompts and then we tried to envision what those characters look like. And then we tried to draw them as realistically as possible. So it's a test of remembering, like, where do the shadows of the face normally fall? That kind of stuff. All right, 103. I brought some examples today for 103. So our 103 realistic class are working on self-portraits. I am in Liberty, you guys, because it's the closest studio to my house. So this is where I work out of usually. And so I went and looked at our realistic 103 bin, and we have a ton of absences in that class. And so everybody is behind, which is fine. No panic. Doesn't matter. Not a big deal. But there wasn't much to show. They do have their grids done and they're working on their portraiture. I was told in Flatwoods everybody is on track and will finish. But we do need to get values deeper on faces, which is a common thing in our portrait studies or all of our studies. Is I find myself when I give feedback to kids is you need your darks. Put your darks in. It's got to get darker. Not the whole thing, but strategically in some places we've got to get darker so that we have the full value scale. So that's where we're working at there, especially with that kind of chiaroscuro style. In our 103 illustrative classes, we looked at the art of Marvel from like a bird's eye view. So picture like Spider-Man, right, way up in the buildings. This was a huge perspective lesson and also some foreshortening. So I wanted to show you some of the examples that we have happening in class this week. So great stuff. You can see we've used some cross hatching, right, to show the value of the buildings. So some really great line work. All of the lines follow the rules of 1-point linear perspective. And then we've got our character in there whose hand is coming at you. And look how big my hand looks when it comes at you. Right? Because those are the rules of perspective. And then my arm, of course, follows the really fun challenge of foreshortening. So great stuff happening in here. We got some foreshortening happening and perspective rules. Here's another really great one. So these guys here, I know the biggest challenge was perspective and using a ruler and keeping it really precise and technical. So for a lot of them, they will stay black and white because of the time constraints. They've got 1 week to finish. And so the classes I know have been brainstorming, like, rather than our very detailed alcohol ink marker coloring, maybe we just dive deeper into grayscale. Or maybe we get out, there's been talk about getting out something that's more washy. Like, right? So I've been told they're not a fan of watercolors. That was my suggestion as a watercolorist. It's like, let's just wash it with watercolors. And they're like, absolutely not, Allison. So but they are looking into some other options other than alcohol ink markers or colored pencils that maybe add color strategically and quicker. So, but I think some of them will choose to stay black and white just because the technical aspect of it really lends itself to a black and white drawing. All right, in our housekeeping section, here we go. Off days, just a reminder, no Wednesday creative explorations in Flatwoods, no Tuesday, Thursday preschool classes in Liberty. Our summer programming registration opens for Studio Club members this Sunday, 9 a.m. Don't message me at 7 and be like, how do I sign up? Because it's 9 a.m. Central Time, guys. Central Time. And I will be here at the Liberty Studio. I plan to be here I mean, I'll be here by like 8, probably 8:30. But and I'll probably only stay till like 10. Generally speaking, unless something breaks, where's some wood? It's usually pretty chill. Because I'm dealing with experts, right? You guys don't usually need a whole ton of help. It's the new people, right? But generally speaking, I mean, you guys are pretty easy. That's one reason why we really like starting with a launch that's our members, because it's like a soft opening with your trusted people. But anyway, so our registration will open. I'll be here for a little while and then I'll take off. And then I'll check messages throughout the day. Okay. If you do something wrong and you call and I don't answer, it's probably because I'm on the other line or I'm talking to somebody on my cell or something and I just can't get to it. You can always leave me a voice message, but honestly, the fastest way to get me is going to be with an email or Facebook message. Okay. Because I can triage those a little bit better, right? As opposed to being on the phone. I know it seems faster, but it's not. Okay. And then, what else? But if it's more complicated, you can call me. The biggest thing, guys, double check the location of where you're registering. As a matter of fact, you can even filter it. At the top, you can be like, I only want to see Liberties. I only want to see Flatwoods. And then hopefully that doesn't happen. Also, nobody panic. Things don't sell out on March 1st. Okay? They don't. There aren't enough of you. It's okay. There'll be plenty. All right. Reminder for the student art show. I got my balloon person. Done. And then junior staff application process, March 15th. All right. So there's a lot happening because summer for everybody who is in a studio club, enrollment opens March 15th. Junior staff application process opens March 15th. If you're a returning junior staff member, your availability form available March 15th. And the art show, March 16th, you guys. That's when we start taking artwork. But we're going to talk more about artwork for the art show in all of March's videos. So we're not going to talk about that today. So you don't need to worry about submissions yet because we're going to talk about it next week. But just so you know, it's coming. Okay. And you have a few weeks. Like once it starts, it's not like it closes a couple days later. Like you're going to have a couple weeks. Okay. All right. I think that's it, everybody. I hope everyone has a fantastic last week of February. If you need anything from me, I'll be here at the studio. Otherwise, talk to you soon.